Hello, everyone. Welcome to our February webinar at DBA Platform. I see people are filing into the room now. We'll be getting started in just a minute. Welcome to the program today. My name is Sarah Bryant. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at DBA Platform, where it's our mission to get you found. And today we have another special topic. Now, a lot of times we talk general local search, and that's a very popular topic. But today we are going so deep because we are tackling automotive industry and Microsoft. So that's pretty niche. But what we have is a pretty exciting agenda because there's some big changes happening with integrations online, which I'm sure you guys are aware. So you're here because you know and understand the opportunities that happen in local search. And usually on these webinars, I say, whether you're a novice or an expert, you're going to get something out of today's program. But I'm here to tell you, when it comes to these new integrations and all of the connections that are happening online and, sort of camouflage ad opportunities, we're all novices today. So we're definitely all going to get a really good overview of what's going on with Microsoft. We have a special guest who's going to be giving us some good information on Microsoft. Now, you guys already probably know that our CEO at DBA Platform, Chris Lytle, is an ex-Googler. He lived in the Googleverse for many years, and he's been really implementing a lot of things in our Google approach and how we integrate and make tracks on Google local search. But recently, I would say maybe the last 3 or 4 months, we've really been digging in with some new opportunities. Microsoft, Apple, everybody's getting into this local search game with inventory, really interesting stuff. And so today, Chris is here as our Microsoft expert, which is something I've never said before.
A new one for me.
It's a new one for you, yeah. It's good to get out of that Google world for a minute and see things at large.
That's right.
So the agenda is, of course, we're going to have Jan give us some information about recent changes. Now, normally that's on the Google Business Profile, but he's going to be broadening his topics and talk a little bit about Microsoft today, too. And then we want to get into the new Microsoft Automotive offering, and DBA is doing kind of a unique proprietary partnership with Microsoft on some things. We've been doing some beta testing for them and got some pretty unique and interesting results. We're going to talk about that. And then besides the AIA program, which is Microsoft Auto Inventory Ads, we're going to also delve into kind of the whole Microsoft automotive ecosystem because it is deep and interesting and well put together. At the end, we will have our Q&A. So, make sure that you participate in our conversation today, and I'll show you where to put your questions so we can get to those during the program and after also. A couple of housekeeping things. One is just that, if you've joined our webinars, you might also like our office hours, because office hours is a chance where you can talk one-on-one in like a Google Meet experience with all of our experts on a bunch of different topics, like could be tech support or how our reporting program works or different integrations that you're looking to do. So on our homepage, you'll find the office hours listed. You can join our regular office hour program. And then for today, you don't get to participate in the live event except through the Q&A box. So now is a good time to find your Zoom controls, and there's a Q&A box. What you do is simply put your questions in there, and then other attendees are going to upvote these questions, and the ones that get the most votes at the end of the program will take those questions first, and we'll stay here for the whole hour to answer as many of those questions as we can get to. Fair warning, we usually don't get to them all, but then we will continue that conversation in our private Facebook group, and we'll give you some access to that today too. So let's start with what is new in the Google world with our Google expert, Jan Gilbert, who you know as our creator of Local Falcon, which is the original Google Maps grid tracking system. And he's one of only a handful of Google Platinum product experts in the world. Now he's becoming a bit of a Microsoft expert too. So Jan, tell us what is new.
Super. Hi, everyone. Thanks for the introduction, Sarah. Yeah, most of the time I start off with all the Google stuff, but in this case, we're going to focus on Microsoft, but we'll just go through a few things for Google. I always like to show the new categories because that's super important. It's a really strong ranking factor for listings. And so anytime there are new Google categories, you want to make sure that you add those to your listing and maybe even put it as your primary if there's a specific one that really, really matches your business. So in this case, we have a generic one called showroom, but that might help with automotive because there's showrooms for that. So you can put it as a secondary category. It will help when people put that as a search in their query, like car showroom or something like that. It'll definitely help that kind of thing. Then we have personal chef service, Filipino grocery store, crypto ATM, and Azerbaijani restaurant. So those are all the new ones. Those were added just a few days ago. And then last month, we have a few more that actually deal with vehicles, which is the electric motors. There's an electric motorcycle one and a Tata Motors. That's probably more of a European one, and a couple doctor type ones. So double check your listings, see if any of these apply to you. If you have clients that these apply to, make sure that you get a leg up on your competitors by adding them to your listings. And that's pretty much it with Google. We're going to move it to Bing this time, just to focus a little bit differently. And so introducing the new Bing, I'm sure everyone's heard about the AI. Not everyone has access to it yet. You have to apply, and there's been a lot of testing and some fun stuff on Twitter and people trying to mess around. But it's overall, it's been a positive experience. There's a new survey. It's from Microsoft, so you have to take it with a grain of salt, I guess. But when they measure all the thumbs up and thumbs down and all the feedback, almost 3/4 of the people are liking the new experience when they have access to this AI. So people are getting a little bit worried, and Google tried to roll layers out in a presentation and then go so hot. So there's a lot of who's going to get there first and taking advantage of all this kind of thing. And so Microsoft is there first, and people are switching over to Microsoft to try this new AI search out, basically. There was a poll a few days ago, which was interesting because it's just SEOs basically answering this, and most people, said that how much of the market share, of course, these are all guesses, how much market share will Bing take away from Google from this new feature that they've added already. So most of the SEOs say about 5%. When you take the average of all of this is about 8% market share. So my view on this is I think it's probably lower if we're guessing. I think SEOs don't want to have to optimize for Google and for Bing and for Yahoo. They want to just focus on Google. It was much easier, especially for me. If I just had to focus on my Google listings, it makes it much easier than having to go to my Google listings and the Bing listings and all that stuff. So
it was hard enough to become a platinum expert just in one. Now you got
it's a lot more work. So the SEOs are probably like, oh yeah, it's good and bad at the same time, right? It makes your job more complicated. But
the SEOs are just hoping that it's going to be very little market share, right?
Yeah, I would expect that this market share switch over is going to be higher than what is what we're estimating at this point. So that's why it's important to pay attention to what Microsoft is doing, what Bing is doing. They do have about 10% market share right now, depending on what platform you're using. Just something to keep in mind, that Microsoft will grow. We don't know how much, but it will grow. At this point, I'll kick it off to Chris to talk more about the specific Microsoft automotive initiatives. And so he knows all those details. And we'll take some questions after if you have any Google listing questions or stuff like that. But right now, we'll give it to Chris so he could talk about the automotive.
Yeah. While you guys switch screens there, just remember, get your Q&A box out. Even if you don't have a question yet, you can watch other people put their questions in. And if that question is relevant to you, upvote it so that we can get to it quickly.
Dynamite. So I assume everyone can see my screen?
It's working.
Great. So yeah, the Bing news has just been real exciting. I mean, just the hype that came along with it was great because we've been working on expanding our relationship with Microsoft for several months now, and so we are very excited to see this this new emphasis on Microsoft and what they're doing. And when you think about some of the things that make Microsoft really compelling, in addition to the Bing opportunity with the AI. In a cookieless world, you got to remember that Microsoft also owns LinkedIn, right? And so if we get to a world where first-party data becomes more relevant, they've got LinkedIn, they've got those Windows users, they've got Outlook.com users, they've got Windows 360, Office 365 users, they've got Discord for the young folks that are playing games. So what's really impressive about Microsoft is just like they kind of snuck up on everybody with the opportunities they were pushing with ChatGPT, they're sneaking up on folks with a really impressive first-party data audience. And one of the areas that they're really looking to assert their advantages is in the automotive space in particular, which is great because it's one of our key verticals. So I'm going to start off just kind of talking about automotive search because a lot of times search gets lost in the shuffle with all the great things going on with social and all these new marketplaces like TrueCar and Car Gurus and all these folks that are out there. And sometimes you got to go back to just look at plain old search and see what the impact there is. So we're going to talk a little bit about that real quick. So we all know that auto shoppers go online to do their research, right? And 94% of them, and I bet the other 6% do as well, unless they're buying it from their sister or something. But even after they get online, the actual car they end up buying, 8 out of 10 of those cars are actually found online, right? Not walking on the dealer lot, but found online and then going to a dealer with the intention of buying that car. So, so in that process, if everyone's searching for cars online, what is the channel that's most useful to the shopper when they're shopping online? And it's search, overwhelmingly. When people talk about, a source is extremely or very useful, you got search, you got OEM sites that are up there. But then, when you look at online marketplaces and social media, which are sexier than Bing, although maybe not anymore, but have certainly got a lot of play over the past couple of years, folks don't really find them that useful in regards to making their automotive purchase journey. They like search. And then even more so, when they say a product that was being used, saying a source is being used or not, the numbers are even a little bit more dramatic. 79% of people, right, saying that they used that search source in their journey, and only 21% of folks saying that they used online marketplaces or social media. So, not to beat a dead horse here, but the point is that there's been a ton of investment in social media and marketplaces, and frequently when we talk to dealers about where they're allocating their spend, they're putting a lot of money into these other areas, and they really haven't made that dedicated focus on all that search can bring, and that's what we're trying to bring to their attention.
It makes sense when you're buying a vehicle, you want to do some research. You don't start on social. Social is for tripping across things more so than, doing some research and starting from scratch.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and even with social, I mean, like, to your point, they might, even if they don't start their search, they don't even end up there in their process, right? So like, most of them don't. So we want to make certain that our dealers are putting resources into the places where the eyeballs actually are, where shoppers find the most value, and that's search. And so when we look at Google and Microsoft in combination, they dominate search, right? And they are both getting heavily involved in automotive. And I think a lot more folks are familiar with Google's Cars for Sale program, which we've been offering for quite some time, and their vehicle listing ads, which we've been offering some time. But folks also are unaware broadly of the opportunities for Microsoft's free placements and their ads as well. So we're going to dig into a little bit of that. So Microsoft's automotive ecosystem, like their ad ecosystem, is bigger than kind of what might initially come to mind. So we've got Start, right? And the Start is their homepage, and there's an app that they have for it. And they actually get a lot of traffic to this Start homepage. It's the default homepage when you use Edge. And as you know, Microsoft has a number of initiatives to encourage you to change your browser to Edge. But when you do, your start page is going to end up being Microsoft Start. And then we've got Bing search results, and folks are familiar with Bing, obviously. But then even within the browser, they're starting to do some really unique things within the browser. So we've got the Edge homepage, which is a slightly different version of the Start homepage. But then we also have the Edge flyout, which is actually an element within the browser itself that can drive automotive inventory right to folks as they're browsing. So really a broad spectrum. And certainly Google has Chrome. I spent a number of years on the Chrome team and love it, but they haven't really been doing the innovation with the within the in-browser shopping opportunities that Microsoft has. So when we go into the Bing search results, kind of the most obvious ones, we'll start there. At the very top, you'll see what we call AIAs, or automotive inventory ads. And if you're familiar with Google's vehicle listing ad, they are a performance-based ad model where somebody searches for a Chevy Silverado, and then we're gonna, if they're within the right area, they're gonna get that ad for that local advertiser. Now, what's interesting is that Google is still needing, Microsoft is still needing to get more inventory into their system. So you can see when I did this search in Georgia, it was offering me things that weren't necessarily close to me. And that's because the inventory isn't there yet, right? So this is a kind of a chicken or the egg thing. And when I was at Google, we had the same issue, which is, hey, we built this great infrastructure for inventory. Now we need to feed more inventory into it. So the bad news for Microsoft is that they still haven't built up that full inventory spec. They built up the spec with the full inventory corpus of data to power all this. The good news for the dealer is that you have an opportunity to get there before anybody else does, right? This is the fishing hole that other folks are not fishing, and it's a big fishing hole. So the opportunity here is to get there before the word gets out to everybody, and then everybody else is doing this. The other thing that's real exciting is the new local pack on Bing. And so it looks awfully familiar if you're familiar with the Google 3-pack. And this just arrived this week. And you notice there's a nice little link in there that has an inventory button. And when you click on that inventory button, it takes you into the auto marketplace that I'm going to show you in just a second. And then finally, Bing also manages the ad placements for Yahoo. So your automotive inventory ads are going to run on Yahoo. And as you can see, they look an awful lot like the Google ads, look an awful lot like the Bing ads. They're pretty fungible. It's just, are you capturing all of your audience? Now, the Start Auto Marketplace is really exciting. I don't know if you all had a chance to check it out, but if you go get a chance, check out the Start Auto Marketplace. It looks a lot like, Car Gurus, and it's not a surprise that it does. I mean, when you think about Microsoft and this wonderful audience that they're growing every day, and they've made a commitment publicly that they want to go from 10 billion to 20 billion dollars in ads this year. They're going to start with the ad opportunities, and automotive is that, right? So they're doing a lot of things in a lot of verticals. They've invested the most resources so far on automotive, and you can see that when you go to their marketplace, because they've got a whole range of tools there. You can see at the top, new cars, used cars, sell your car, research, Q&A, deals, automotive news, all that good stuff. So they are looking to get in, the space of a lot of these marketplaces, and they should be real effective at doing that.
Well, and Chris, I just want to point out too, the same thing happened a couple of years ago with Google and VLA, where what you're going to see on these, if you look closely, what's up here today is CarMax, Car.com. It's going to be these big car gurus, Vroom, because the guys with the big budgets, they see the opportunity. They want to go and dominate those. Now, I can't say for sure that it's true for Microsoft, but I do get the sense from Google that, yes, they love that ad revenue coming in from those big guys, but they really do want to support the local the local purchase. Like they know that not every consumer is buying from, cars.com, and people are buying from their local dealership. And so Google did want to, they really did want to get the local dealerships up here and get them a placement. They would prefer it. And I'm guessing that Microsoft has that same intention. Like they want to display a reflection of reality, and reality is more than just these national operators.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, to that point, from the dealer's perspective, when I click on these ads, they don't go to my dealership, they go to CarMax. And when they go to CarMax, it also shows me where that same car is available at other dealerships in the area. So one of the things that we hear from dealers frequently is that they don't appreciate these ads kind of getting in the front of the line, because they don't necessarily drive to their store. They drive to the vehicles that are available at their competitors as well. So it behooves everyone to eventually get to that spot. And as you can see on this marketplace page, we both have the AIAs at the top, right? And the free listings along the bottom. So you provide your feed, you show up in the marketplace for free. In order to break out of the pack, you pay to be at the top. Now, one thing that's interesting and slightly different from VLAs on Google, all Google VLAs require a search term to trigger the ad. And AIAs do in most cases as well. However, when you go to the front page of the marketplace, they proactively make assumptions about what ads would be most relevant to that user based on what they know of that user, right? So there are some instances in which AIAs appear before a search has been performed, and that's something that's unique to Microsoft.
And it's smart. And you're not paying for it unless you get that click. So you're just getting all these impressions without paying for it.
That's right. And then, some other places, these free listings are going to show up. We have the start page that we talked about, and that'll appear there. We have the Edge start page, and that appears there. The Edge flyout, right? So if you've used Edge recently, and it's a great browser, I'd recommend checking it out. When you're on sites, there's a shopping button, and when you click on that, it starts showing free listings related to what you're looking at, right? So they start training users to avail themselves of that, and they've got a lot of very clever ideas, where in some cases, some of these flyouts are going to be proactive, right? Without the user clicking a button. You might be on a Kia OEM site, and then this might just slide out a few free local listings that are in your area. And as you know, Microsoft is really interested in getting more people to choose Edge as their default browser. And one interesting kind of tidbit, and I know this from my days competing against Edge when I was at Google on the Chrome team, Edge has a built-in business user base, right? Folks that are issued company devices frequently have Edge as their only browser, and they're not allowed to change it. And in regulated industries, that's particularly true, because Microsoft offers a support contract and Google doesn't have a Chrome support contract, right? So as a result, some of these industries, they literally can't put Chrome on their devices. What's interesting with the pandemic is that we've had a lot of folks that have had devices to be sent to their home. And these devices are still controlled by corporate. And in many cases, these devices have Edge locked down as the default browser. So the audience for Edge is large and growing, because Microsoft is always finding ways to kind of get you to commit.
Well, and if you figure that Microsoft has a goal to double their ad revenue, not only are they making these ad programs pretty interesting, but they also have to drive, more people to more consumers. And so they're working on that angle too. So it's like, being there as they're doing that is a good strategy.
100%. And again, these are all, it's a combination of free listings that cost nothing and performance-based ads. So, there's no reason not to do it. So when we look at what a free listing page looks like, when I clicked into any of those free listings, this is what's going to come up. And you notice at the very top of the page, there are exactly what we say happens at other directories, where they're going to talk about other listings for other dealers in your area, right? That's the downside of it. However, if you don't provide your feed, you're never going to show up there anyway, and at least you'll be appearing on your competitors' pages there as well, right? There is an interesting opportunity where I'm going to talk about the premium listings product, in which the premium dealers, the ads do not appear on their page. So if you opt into the premium package, you will not have competitors' ads on your landing pages. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But then this is the same VDP. When you scroll down a little bit more, you see it's got all the standard goodies, loan calculators, and how the pricing matches up compared to what they see. Of course, the ubiquitous insurance ads. But if you check it out, it's a pretty standard vehicle description page done very well, right? Very professionally. So now the premium listings. This is something that's brand new. This is something that we at DBA Platform were literally the first partner to sign with Microsoft to do this. We just did that a few weeks ago. This is only going to be available through 3 companies in 2023. We're among those companies, and we know the other guys are if you want to work with us. But this premium listing product is really going to be a game changer in the way that Microsoft works its listing business. So there's a couple of really interesting benefits that go along with this. One is when you opt into the premium listing solution, you get your dealership is noted with a premium badge. And that premium badge goes throughout all the surfaces, free listings, paid listings, all that good stuff. 3-pack, the local pack, you get a little annotation saying that you are the bee's knees. And then preferred search results. Participating dealers will appear at the top of the Bing local pack, right? That I just showed you guys. And then also marketplace results. So when someone does a search for that Chevy Silverado near me, the premium listings are going to appear at the top of that. And then, as I just mentioned, there's not going to be any ads on those listings. So once people get on your page, they're either finding someplace else to be or clicking through to your site, but they're not going to be going to competitive pages. There's going to be some more personalization that's available for those VDPs that I just showed you. It's going to be more personalized with your brand, with the dealer's brand. And also it's going to have some additional unique offer opportunities. So if you've got a special running at the dealership that month, you'll be able to put that out there. What's really exciting is our new pay-per-click links. And this is brand new, where Microsoft is kind of bringing together their ad business and their marketplace business, and participating dealers are going to be able to buy links that go through to their site. So when they go, when someone's a premium dealer, they come to the top of the search results. The dealer, the user goes in. When the user goes in, they're going down a funnel. They don't see the other ads anymore. They're being driven to interact with the dealer. That click is going to come on a pay-per-click basis. And then finally, there's going to be paid leads that are involved there as well. And this is something that's brand new. So, if you go to Car Gurus or a lot of the marketplace sites, they've got the opportunity for folks to raise their hand and say, I would like to talk to a dealer about this car. We are going to be offering these as well. And the way this is going to work is if they're a logged in Microsoft user because they're a Microsoft 365 user or logged in Bing user, you name it, the field is that the formula should be pre-populated for the user, and then the user will have the option of going ahead and clicking. So we're going to reduce the barriers of someone saying yes. But whether it's pre-populated and they just click go, or the shopper fills it out themselves, the lead goes directly to the dealer. And then at the end of the month, we do an accounting, and then we get it all reconciled from there. So it's a really unique opportunity. Again, merging the marketplace with some paid opportunities, and this is what it's going to look like. So if you see what the old listing looked like, right? I mean, it's plenty, it's fine and all, but when you click on a premium listing, it's going to be obvious that you're at a premium listing. So there's going to have more of the personalization at the top. We're going to have that lead form, right? And then we'll be able to drive it from there. So this is actually really interesting because I think folks have been aware to some degree that Microsoft, has been in the automotive game to some degree, but I think that a lot of folks weren't really digging into the audience enough to know why it was meaningful and relevant. So I think the first aspect of it is the uh, the the new premium ad opportunities that are there. But there's also some really interesting aspects of their audience that make them a really compelling automotive audience. So one is you're going to reach folks that respond to ads, right? Microsoft vehicle shoppers are 11% more likely to buy brands they've seen advertised than Google vehicle shoppers. And that's a trend that Microsoft has seen grow. And there's some reasons that feed into that. First is Microsoft is over indexing with vehicle shoppers by 15%, right? So the folks that are using the Microsoft automotive network are more likely to be shoppers for cars. And then the next is that we over index, compared to the overall market, right? So Microsoft folks are more likely to be car shoppers than the average person off the street, right? So very auto-focused market. And then this is something that folks don't really think about a lot, is that when you're buying, a lot of times, if you're buying a small item, you might not bounce back and forth and check out a variety of search engines. If you're buying a car and you have a longer search process, you're more likely to end up on alternative search engines. So according to Microsoft, 50% of Google shoppers who are shopping for a vehicle also toggle over to the Microsoft search interfaces as well. And then this is an interesting stat where 53% of the in-market vehicle shoppers, meaning people that are actually in the market where they're shopping for that car, are using Microsoft owned and operated search. And then 28% of overall of those shoppers are only using Microsoft and nothing else. So again, it's not Google's audience, right? But it's a reasonable percentage of that audience, and it's one that's more geared towards being an automotive shopper. And I think this is one of the things that's kind of interesting is a lot of times when you, at least before the most recent Bing announcements, when you throw out Bing, people will say, oh, that's for old people search. And when you're looking for car shoppers, that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? So Microsoft over indexes by 10% on shoppers between the ages of 45 to 54, the people with the most buying power. Google over indexes by 39% in shoppers like my deadbeat kids who can't buy anything, right? So the opportunity here again is like, yeah, Microsoft isn't the sexiest place compared to Google in some ways, but if you find highly qualified auto shoppers who have money to be sexy, you might be interested in Microsoft. And this is actually kind of an interesting stat, right? So, Microsoft shoppers are more likely to be employed full-time. Google's hot product, but a lot of their users, are not, fully employed folks, right? And then the kind of summation of that is that they over-index towards wealthier people, right? People with money, older audience, wealthier audience, more established, better credit. And this is the stat that was kind of eye-popping for me, is that when you look at Google's audience overall, it really dwarfs Microsoft. But when you drill down into the automotive audience, right? How many vehicle shoppers are searching Google? How many vehicle shoppers are searching on Microsoft? The delta is not that much, right? And we've certainly seen that when we have run the Bing vehicle, the AIAs in the same market as the Google vehicle listing ads. We're finding on average it takes about $1,200 to blow through the available inventory on Google, and anywhere from $380 to $500 to blow through the available inventory on Microsoft. So there's shoppers out there, and they're primarily being hit by ads for CarMax and Car Gurus.
Yeah, there's all these shoppers and nobody. I mean, the program is new, obviously, so not a lot of people on it, but it's an incredible opportunity. And when we first started working with it, we tested it, our own ad platform team of experts who do this with the Google VLA, we were kind of skeptical, because we've been a Google shop really, because that's where a lot of the action has been. The news has changed things a lot. I mean, I think all of us on this call are like, whoa, wait, we thought Google was going to be it forever, but that's never the case, is it, with anything? Like, there is disruption. There's disruption. And I had no idea that Microsoft was doing all this stuff. But in September, we started just a pilot to see what we could do with the Microsoft auto ads in inventory. And, at first, as you know, when you start a new ad campaign, the cost per click is going to be higher because it is not optimized. It has not had a chance to garner any intelligence or whatever. But pretty quickly, I mean, my goal was, can we get Microsoft cost per click to be anywhere in the ballpark with Google? Could it be comparable? And I thought, if it's comparable, it's cool because it's blue ocean, no competitors are there. So whoever is there as a consumer, we can get them. And if the price is similar, then it's a really good strategy. So within about 6 weeks, we got that price into the ballpark. And then, to my surprise, we've actually been able to optimize the Microsoft ads at a lower cost per click, meaning more value for the ad dollar in the Microsoft universe. And I've said this a couple of times to different people in the automotive industry, like, my current strategy is spend what you can in the blue ocean, no competition area, and max that, especially when the cost per click is lower. And then, then spend the rest of the budget where there's more competition and make sure that you're still meeting your objectives. It makes perfect sense. And with everything that Microsoft is doing, I didn't expect to be saying these things in the fall. In the fall when we took this on, I was like, let's see what happens. But, we got to move to where these integrations are pushing people, and what's weird is, people would go to Google. Now I don't even know that people know where they're going when they're searching.
Well, that's a really interesting point, Sarah. I mean, one thing that we discovered the other day is that if you're searching on Bing, you don't see the Bing logo anywhere. If you're on mobile searching on Bing, like, it just looks like Google exactly. And again, Microsoft's being clever about kind of finding ways to get you to commit to making the browser, Edge your default, and make, Bing your default, and all these things. And the truth is, I think that the analogy is what's happened with Apple Maps, where all of a sudden there's a lot of people using it. And I think a lot of those folks did not make a conscious decision to switch over to Apple Maps. It's just that Apple just started featuring it more prominently, and it looks just like Google Maps in a lot of ways, particularly after Google changed their logo for Google Maps. And now the Apple Maps logo looks a lot like the old Google Maps logo. So, there's a lot of folks that are switching and using other products. And I think a lot of the kind of built-in, dominance that we thought Google was going to have on search and maps is coming undone a bit. So the good news is that we can help you work with both large search engines.
Well, it's a perfect segue, because an anonymous attendee just asked a really great question, which is, if we list inventory feeds on Google through DBA platform, how easy is it to get feeds up on Microsoft?
Yeah, so the good news is that that's included. That's free as part of if you're on, if you're using DBA for delivering cars for sale data to Google, we'll be able to provide that same data to Microsoft at no additional charge. It's just part of what we do here. And for those dealers that are interested in the premium program, there's no additional work that needs to be done. We just need to kind of get the contract in place that addresses the pay-per-click leads, the pay-per-click direction turns, and the pay-per-lead function as well.
Yeah, and Microsoft is so motivated to get this done. One of the surprising things I found too is that when we first started doing this, I was thinking solely Bing as a search engine, like Bing. I did not realize how vast the Microsoft network is, all the places that they are. You mentioned one today, which is, that they manage the Yahoo ad space. But it's like every time we meet with the Microsoft team, they're like, yeah, and we have this and we have this, and they're rolling things out really fast, and it's very integrated, it's very well thought through, and there's a lot of value because when you buy one program, they're kind of entering you into the whole like ecosystem. It's just a very, very interesting and well thought out program.
It is. I mean, they've got, huge footprint with consumers, and they're bringing it all together and leveraging it at just the right time. And, all the excitement about Chat GPT is just kind of the icing on the cake there. And I see Craig has a question about targeting, for aftermarket stuff. And I'll address that just, kind of at the end of this next slide, which is why would you want to work with DBA platform, for working with Microsoft Automotive. And, we've been a Cars for Sale program partner for Google since day one. We've, support thousands of dealers on this. Likewise with vehicle listing ads, we are among the first people to bring vehicle listing ads to the market. And we're happy to say that we've got thousands of dealers we're supporting today. And then kind of aligning a little bit with Craig's question, we do take in product inventory as well. So if you've ever done a search for Yeti cooler near me, or muffler near me, or looking for tires near me, those kind of things, those are the kind of searches that are powered by product inventory searches. So we provide that product inventory data to Google on retailers' behalf, and increasingly on the behalf of dealers who have large parts departments. It's a great opportunity when people do those searches for auto parts near them. The dealers are generally invisible because they're not pushing that product inventory. We can facilitate that. And then on the Microsoft side, we've been a free listing. We became a free listing provider last year. We just signed the premium auto marketplace deal this month, which is really exciting. And we're a part of just a very tiny group of providers that will be allowed to provide this new premium listing service in 2023. And we're humbled by that. We've been automotive inventory ads partners for a while, but we've really devoted a lot more energy to it over the past several months as we've started to see the great results that our customers are getting. So we're really making a hard push on that right now. And then likewise, we're also a Microsoft product inventory partner. So Microsoft has a corollary business with product inventory data, and we can provide all of that. So in one-stop shop, we can do anything related to inventory for an auto dealer: vehicle inventory, product inventory, ads, sending it to Google, and sending it to Microsoft.
So Sam has a question.
Just one second. I wanted to finish up with Craig's question, because Craig had a question about targeting folks based on their purchases. And that is something we've been discussing with a number of the providers. It's not something that's available yet, but when you see a lot of the tools that people are starting to offer in the marketplace, they're tools that encourage you to identify the car that you're buying and the car that you're selling. And so there's opportunities that are going to come for targeting based on that. For right now, I think the best opportunity for a dealer is to get their parts inventory online so that people don't go driving right past them on the way to Napa.
Sam had a specific question about the paid leads that Microsoft is doing. So this would be like the form fills, where you're getting that lead, delivered. Do the paid leads integrate to my CRM? Google's do not, and that makes it hard to track.
Yeah, I'm afraid as of for the first release, they will not. It's going to be either a CSV file or frankly emails that are coming in. So there's going to need to be some manual translation into CRMs. That's something we're digging into, but something that we're a little bit outside the scope because Microsoft is, at that end of the delivery process. The leads never really touch us. We're just kind of collecting payment and, providing reporting. So long story short, the answer is currently no, but I know it is something that they're looking to do.
You will get the lead, you will get the contact to keep, but you just have to get it into your CRM.
Unfortunately for right now, right?
All right. Do we have any other questions? And I just wanted to remind you that if you're not a part of our private Facebook group, you may want to be, because that is a place where you can post questions that you have later, if something comes up and you want to interact with our team. And I think we have another question from Anonymous, which is, do we optimize the ads ourselves, or is that done from DBA platform side, or a mix?
Yeah, so there's choices. We have our Ads Essentials program, in which we basically set up the feed, we keep it going, we create all the accounts, we monitor it, because one of the dirty little secrets of all this stuff is that there are issues with feed delivery, at the platform. And so our Ads Essentials package, we basically configure, troubleshoot, and monitor the feeds in your accounts. With Ads Ultimate, we actually manage the account on your behalf, and we do some optimization along the way. And what's great about that is not only do we work very closely with Microsoft on doing that at scale, but also we're gathering best practices and insights from a variety of folks, so we're able to kind of incorporate that into the overall optimization.
I'll tell you, our ad managers really like the Microsoft platform, because it gives you a lot of flexibility to be able to manage the ads the way that you want to get those tiny little optimizations that drive your success in that program. So they really like that. Google has a tendency to kind of ratchet down these programs, and they give us less flexibility, which is a little frustrating. So that's kind of another advantage that our ad team talks about with the Microsoft side. Eric had a question. Are there restrictions on how we can advertise this, like Google had when PLA was launched?
You can go nuts. You can go absolutely crazy.
RVs, right? We could.
Well, yeah, and actually, no, that is a point that I overlooked. I was really focused on auto, but we can do RV, motorcycles, and power sports, and boats are coming soon for the automotive inventory ads, which are unfortunately named now. There will be free listings coming for that, for those vehicles as well. And also, frankly, Google just announced recently that the Cars for Sale program will now take anything with a VIN. So that's RVs, motorcycles. So we're excited to be able to be servicing the RV and motorcycle and power sports world as well now. But
yes, and we had some openings in Canada too, some recently. So things are opening up a little bit, but Microsoft in general is more flexible than Google, because I think I probably can't guess why, but I can just tell you that they are.
They're the up and comer, right? They're the up and comer. They're aggressive. I mean, when I was at Google, we felt that way about the cloud team, because we were the up and comer against Microsoft Azure, so they're the up and comer, and they're being aggressive about letting us work with them. So there's no restrictions. You guys will be able to market it however you like.
And then Sam was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the pricing. He's interested in the premium package, but are there minimums? And
yeah, generally we need a 10 location minimum. And the packages really vary based on your needs. If you're just doing the basic inventory without ads, I think that starts at $38 a location per month. And then if we're doing everything for you, fully managed ads, that can go all the way up to $180 a month. But our sales team would love to talk to you about that. I don't know if we can drop Stacy's email address in there. It's just Stacy@dbaplatform.com. And
yeah, Stacy with an E, but Matt can put Stacy's contact information into the chat. And I know she would love to talk to you about these new programs. We do have some documentation on them, but they're very new. And so, just talk to our team and see what works best for you. And Matt put her email in there. You can just reach out, and Stacy can let you know how it will work in your particular situation. And Eric had a follow-up question. Does Google now allow boats?
Not yet.
But it's coming.
Yeah, well, we don't have any ETA on that. That's the thing, is that Microsoft is more willing to tell us what's coming and all those kind of things. We were excited to see the RVs, power sports, and motorcycles, and we hope that boats are coming soon. It's just interesting that boats, from a spec perspective, they're a different animal. So it's a lot easier to kind of take an automotive feed and turn, and translate it so you can do an RV feed. boats are just a different animal. So there's some work that needs to be done on all parties to enable that.
I think that's all the questions that we have. Reach out to Stacy, see how the program will work for you. We're really excited to be able to bring this program to you. I know Chris is very excited about all the things that we're learning with Microsoft and sharing that stuff with you. This stuff is changing faster and faster. And like just yesterday, Chris was like, or maybe that was actually earlier today. Hey, we need to do another one of these, because there are so many things coming, and we're trying to keep that updated, but there are a lot of changes. And so we'll keep you updated in social media, in the Facebook group. Come to the webinars. We sort of did this niche one just for automotive today, and we'd like to do more of these. If you have specific topics that you want to know about, let us know in the Facebook group, and we'll try to create webinars around those, even if we have to do a special webinar here or there to get that information out.
And I think to follow up on Sarah's point about, that things are coming fast and furious, and it's not always easy to find out, from, Google and Microsoft what's going on. With the huge number of unfortunate layoffs that they've had, there's less folks to talk to over there than there was even before. So we know that they are going to be more reliant on working with great partners like DBA Platform to service the market. And that likewise, agencies and dealers are recognizing that, a partner is going to be needed because there just aren't the folks with the platforms to talk to anymore.
We see it all the time with the listings, with the Google listings. There's always little glitches and issues. And if you try to contact support yourself, they don't help you. But through our partnership programs, we have other avenues and people will respond, and we help all our agencies in a much more efficient manner than they would contact support themselves. And we just open a lot more doors this way.
Yep, and that's our tagline, right? Local optimization at scale. So let us help you get scale on those questions.
Indeed.
All right, well, we'll see you next month in March. And we'll have, I know we've got some things cooking, some new programs to talk about at that time too. In the meantime, reach out to our team through office hours, through the Facebook group, and watch for the next webinar. And we'll see you in March.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.